Stan Jabalisco here, proprietor and operator of amateur radio station W1GV Whiskey 1 Good Vibrations. I don't think I've ever told you how I came to live at this particular QTH, which is in the town of Lead, South Dakota, L-E-A-D, as if it were lead. I believe the name Lead comes from the fact that a vein of gold was discovered in this area, and they call that a lead. So they made a gold mine called the Homestake Gold Mine here in Lead, which is about 3 or 4 miles away from Deadwood. I'm not sure which direction is which in these hills. Sometimes I get confused and I think, gee, what time is it by the sun? And the sun is shining out of the south, and it looks like it's shining out of the east. But at least at my house, which you can see, by the way, if you go to my QRZCQ profile. I believe in that profile it indicates my it has a picture of my house with a whole lot of snow in front of it, which is kind of ironic because that's what it looks like right now. We just had 2 feet of snow about a week ago, and then another 6 inches on top of that, and then it settles and melts, and it looks like maybe it isn't going to be too long before we have another 6 to 12 inches of snow. You who like the metric system, do the math yourself, okay? But it's a lot of snow by most people's standards, but not here in the Black Hills. The way I got here, I was actually looking for places to live in Wyoming, and the Black Hills of South Dakota proved to be a good stopping point, good stop off along the way. And so I stopped in a town called Lead and stayed in a hotel which has just been reopened. It's been several years now. It's been 15, 16 years. It's gone through some iterations. This was in 2004, and I don't know exactly what time of year it was. Maybe it was in late 2003. But I met a realtor, and we started looking at houses, and then I found out, I just figured, geez, the prices are low here, I might as well look around. And my car developed a very annoying problem in the grocery store parking lot. I couldn't shut it off. The key got stuck in the ignition with the engine running. So I ran into that grocery store, and I got some help from some very friendly people who helped me get that car. Fortunately, maybe it was fortunate that the engine was running, because I was able to drive it down to a place called Triple K Tire and Repair in a town called Central City, only about a mile and a half away from here. Those of you who like kilometers, do the math yourself. Anyway, I got the car there, and they, of course, took that as a pretty good sign that they needed to service it fast, but at least they needed to get it shut off. So they shut it off, but I did take them a day or two to fix it. So I stayed in this motel. I don't remember now what it was called, and I don't even know what it's called now. They changed the name so many times as it iterated its way through the misfortunes of the economy in the Black Hills. Anyway, well, the misfortunes of the economy that have occurred everywhere up and down since 2004. But in any case, I walked into several houses and looked at them all and wasn't particularly impressed until I got to one house, and I knew instantly, I want to live in this house. And that house is the one I live in now, some 16 years later. That's the longest I've lived in any house in my life, even my childhood home in Rochester, Minnesota, which was on an avenue called 7 1/2 Avenue. I moved in there in 1960, I believe 1961, when I was 6 or 7 years old, and lived there. Actually lived there until I went to college at age 18, so that would have been 11 years. And officially, I didn't really live in that house anymore after that. Well, I did it on and off when I came home for vacations and things, home meaning there. But now this is my home and my QTH, and you can see, you're looking north, basically, at the house, which has a deck facing towards the southeast and a clear shot to South America and the the Pacific Ocean west of South America, the South Pacific. Excellent DX from there with my deck-mounted vertical antenna, which I haven't used for quite a while. I've been QRT for quite a while, mainly because I've been not particularly interested in doing a lot of operating lately. That's really, frankly, the reason. And I've often been ill and bedridden. I spend most of my time in bed to keep weight off this foot, and even sitting down to do this video, I have to put some weight on it. I'm not going to get into a boo-hoo, poor me story. I told you I wasn't going to do that, so I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to go there. But this, that's how I got to be in this QTH, was because my car broke down in a town called Lead, South Dakota. If it hadn't been for that breakdown, I probably live in Sheridan, Wyoming, or Cody, Wyoming. Probably one of those two places. And have since looked at houses in those places, but of late I've become more and more fond of the house in which I live. Homes, you know, it tends to grow on you, you know, and so now I'm perfectly content, and I hope to continue to be able to live in this home. No more boo-hoo, poor me stuff, but there's some question as to whether I'll be able to continue to maintain this home and live in this home. But that's how I came to be here. You know, a year earlier, in 2003, or a year before I bought this house, I remember looking at houses in Lead with a different realtor and almost making an offer on one, but I finally decided against it. There was something about it I didn't like. Something about the layout, or something just didn't feel right. And it was down in sort of in the gulch in Lead, whereas I'm up on a hill that faces towards the sun most of the time when the sun is shining. But I remember one night I saw a fire in a distant house blazing away. That's when after I moved into this house, a fire, and somebody's house was on fire. And I thought, wow, that's pretty scary stuff. It turned out that the house that was burning down and burnt to the ground, and I think the lot is vacant to this day. It's been several years. Maybe somebody's built on it. I haven't been in that area recently. That house was the one that I had the bad feeling about. Something about that house wasn't right, and I could feel it in the marrow of my bones. And when I walked into the house I live in now, something just clicked in the cerebral cortex between the two sound receptors in my head and said, this is the house. And thus it has been for 16 years, and I hope many more. Stan Gibilisco, W1GV, saying 73, and so long, which regardless of the house that I operate from, regardless of the type of antenna, power level, terrain around the house, mobile, fixed, aeronautical mobile, regardless of everything, always translates in my native fist to so long, da-da-da-da-da-da.